Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. There's a great deal of consternation in Indian papers and I suppose in the Indian state with regards to the protest against the Indian ambassador to the US when he visited Gurdwaras in New York on Guru Nanak Sahib's Gurpurb. There seems to be a desire by the Indian state to enter Gurdwaras and have a rapprochement with the Sikh community abroad, which is, to say the least, very concerned about the status of Sikhs in India as well as abroad. I believe that the people who protested against the ambassador did the correct thing, and I wish to explain. Right from the beginning, India has treated Sikhs as second-class citizens. Our homeland was divided at partition and forsaken. Places like Nankana Sahib and other Panja Sahib Gurdwaras were left and we had to migrate from there to here. On arriving here, the language Guru Angad Sahib promulgated in the Gurmukhi script was discriminated against because it was not Sanskritized and did not follow the Sanskrit pattern, and we had to speak Hindi and were dictated to do so until we got our own Punjab state, which is further truncated. Our river waters, riparian rights were subjugated and our water was given to far-flung places where a lot of money was spent, and today megapolises such as New Delhi, NCR region spring up and all economic activity has been taken away from Punjab, whose economic hub was Lahore and for whom the port city of Karachi was built so that we could trade and export. All that trade has been cut. This stealing of a state capital, Chandigarh, is also deep within our psyche. In 1984, the state decided to take action against the Sikhs and attack the Harmandir Sahib, during which over 2,000 to 5,000 women, children who'd gone there as devotees were killed by the crossfire of the Indian Army and the militants, and no responsibility was taken for that. Many honors were given to fallen Indian Army soldiers, but there was no accounting for the civilians who were killed in this carnage. Post 1984, Operation Woodrose was initiated to clamp down on Sikhs, and number of Sikhs under draconian laws such as the Armed Forces Special Protection Act, TADA, UAPA and now NSA, which bear their roots in those Rowlatt Act, which was protested against by the Jallianwala Bagh folks. Those same acts are imposed on Sikhs. One of the methods of shutting Sikhs down used by the army, police, paramilitaries was to capture them, bring them into custody, torture them and eliminate them and throw them and show that they have been killed in an encounter. Evidence of this was uncovered by Jaswant Singh Khalra, who saw that in cremation grounds, unknown people were cremated by the Punjab police and put a case against the state to explain who they were. The state never explained it, but agreed to pay compensation for this. In 1984 October, the state did such a draconian and dastardly act wherein it promulgated a program against the Sikhs in all major cities of India, including New Delhi, where Sikhs were targeted, tortured, killed, women were raped, murdered, our children were beheaded. All kinds of atrocities were committed on Sikhs, whereas in those 3 days, no army, navy, air force, police, paramilitary forces of the center, in the center, New Delhi, came out to help Sikhs. It was a criminal act of omission. This has left an undying thought in our minds that the state targets us and eliminates us. During President's rule in Punjab, KPS Gill and his cohort of police officers had a weekly target of killings that they had to do, and cats were promulgated amongst us who again created terror in the state, and innumerable Sikhs were picked up and killed, including those sons of professors whose case is still ongoing against Sumed Saini and other police officers. In the center, the person in charge of the intelligence bureau was Mr. Duval, who is now the National Security Advisor. This acts of omission of police force exercising restraint amongst people who are out to kill a minority has also been practiced by the current Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Godhra in Gujarat. He also, like Rajiv Gandhi, did not allow the police forces to stop a program against the Muslims, and their rhetoric and attitude towards the Muslims still promulgates this kind of attitude, and now it seems that Sikhs have been brought into the same category as Muslims in India. What I would say is that there's a great deal of reason for Sikhs to question the role of the Indian state in our extrajudicial killings. Of late, the Canadian state under Justin Trudeau has called out this behavior on foreign soil. The United States has filed a sealed case against this targeted killing in the United States. The case of Vikas Jood in Australia, instigated and commended by the Ministry of External Affairs, and the case of Khanda, Avtar Singh Khanda in the United Kingdom, is also in front of us. When the Sikhs in the Gurdwara Sahib asked the Indian functionary Taranjit Singh Sandhu to explain what the Indian state is doing, they were following in the paths of the Gurus. Guru Nanak Sahib, whose Gurpurab was celebrated, was the person who's pointed out the then Mughal Emperor Babur's atrocities on the population and pointed out and said to him, Babur, tu hai Jabir. The protesters are again lifting a finger against the state of India through its functionary on the day of the Gurpurab and pointing out to India that you are committing human rights violations and you are targeting minorities, and that is the reason for the protest. I believe those protesters were correct and they are following the highest standards of Sikhism. So therefore I believe that Taranjit Singh Sandhu needed to explain, the state needs to explain, we don't need to explain why we protest the Indian state. The state needs to explain who have they caught and prosecuted for the murder of Sikhs from 1984 onwards. The state needs to explain to Canada why their accusation is incorrect. It needs to answer the criminal case lodged in United States of America against them. They need to answer why Avtar Singh Khanda died. These are incumbent on the Indian state to clarify and explain. We must ask these questions, because if we want the continuity of Sikhism through time, then if we do not secure and question our unaccounted deaths, we will subjugate future generations to the Hindutva ideology that the state is propagating. And therefore, for me, the people who question Taranjit going to the Gurpurab as the ambassador of India did the correct thing. And I wish to ask those who called him as the ambassador of India, not as an individual, why they did so. Do they accept India's role in the killing of Sikhs, or do they question it like we do? Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.